Okay, so first of all, thank you to the candidates for coming. Let's give them a round of applause. So showing up and for being here tonight. As you can see, we have way more candidates. If we just let every candidate answer the question down the line, we'd all be here maybe until tomorrow. So what we decided to do was today we sent an email to the candidates that we knew about, and hopefully the ones that didn't get that email can hear the 5 topics right now. But we said these are the 5 topics, and you'll each get 2 cards if you want to hold up your cards. Basically, this is a talking card. So when you would like to say something about a topic or a question that we give you tonight, then put your card up and that's your card. Now, I'm going to give, well, actually not me, because I want it for someone to be out of town with, Jordan from Let's Build Homes. Okay, do you know anyone in this room, Jordan?
I know Mayor Douglas.
Okay, don't give him one and don't give me one. You have 4 cards to give to 4 audience members, and when you in the audience would like somebody to answer a question, or would like, do you want me to go in the middle?
No, I'm trying to
Would
whisper
like,
something to you.
Oh.
Announcers and all.
Yeah. And if you're in the audience, if you're holding a card and you would like somebody to answer a question that they didn't, or you'd like, you can use a talking card basically. Okay, so Jordan, this is Jordan from Let's Build Homes.
Hi, people raise their hand if they're giving them out randomly.
Yeah, Casey's going to introduce Let's Build Homes shortly, but just give them out randomly to whomever. Whoever takes your fancy.
Okay, I'll give one.
Yay!
It is kind of like that. If you want to reject your card.
That's a good guess.
How much can I take that? Drink or
Yep, usually work. If anybody needs, just let me know. I can share.
I don't give it to you.
You can pass your card.
Okay.
Gotcha.
They weren't allowed. All right. Casey, you're going to need to project and all the candidates tonight. So come on up. This is, you can introduce yourself.
Hey everybody. Sorry, I'm going to stand sort of in front of you guys. My name is Casey McNeil. I know...
Louder.
Project. You gotta project.
All right, my name is Casey McNeil. I know most of the people in this room. I was born and raised in Rutland. I grew up here my whole life. I graduated from Rutland High School in 2007. Moved away for college for a brief 15 years. Met my wife. We started having the family discussions, and we're like, hey, let's move back home to Rutland. And back in 2021, we were having those conversations, and I tried to move back home. After a year of looking, there was not a single place that we could find. Ultimately, we landed in Castleton, which is great, still part of Rutland County, so almost made it back to Rutland. But now we have 2 awesome kids. We're loving Castleton, but still come to Rutland every day for work at the store. We just celebrated our 70th year this year at McNeil & Reedy, which is really cool. The best part of that is we're still growing. So after 70 years, we're still finding new ways to grow while keeping up with the tradition of a 7-year-old business. A struggle with that growth is new people moving to town to work in the shop. Finding a tailor to move to town was a very challenging 3-year struggle. And he's now here. He's been here for 2 years, but they have no place to move into. He has 3 children, and there's not an affordable option for him to move into. So they're stuck in a rental right now. They've passed all the, banking struggles and all that. They have their down payment ready to go. They just need that house. We just hired a gentleman last summer. He's a single guy and just looking for a 1-bedroom apartment. He also can't find it. So he's commuting an hour to work every day to downtown Rutland. So you may ask, like, why am I standing up here? I have a small store, probably 6 of us running the whole store. but out of those 6, 3 of them can't find a place to live. So that's 50% of my workforce. And that's when I stumbled on Let's Build Homes, which is a statewide initiative, really pressuring Montpelier and working on policy. There's estimates out there that we need 30,000 homes by 2030, which is a metric I'm sure you guys have all heard. And I think Let's Build Homes will be at the front of that movement. So I'm thankful you guys all met today. This really did start over a conversation with Claire while she was buying her husband a birthday present. So it's cool to see all you guys here. It means there is an issue, and I'm glad we can all work together to try to solve it. Thank you. And Jordan is here too from Let's Build Homes. If anyone wants to learn more or sign up for the initiative, she's got a little
I'm going to
clipboard.
pass around a clipboard if you're interested in hearing updates from us. I would welcome you jotting down your email address. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Okay, we are getting a microphone. It's on its way, but that's it. Yeah. So I'm just gonna outline maybe one off. Whatever. I'll take whatever microphone's going. So I'm gonna outline the 5 topics. We did put out opportunity for the public to submit questions, both to Sean and also on the Facebook page. So tonight, the 5 topics that we're going to be talking about is vacant downtown buildings in particular, but also vacant buildings in Rutland City in general. We're going to talk about large developments and Act 250 and what the impacts of that could be. We're going to talk about permit challenges, so the ability to challenge permits within a particular zoning. We're going to talk about unhoused individuals, and we're going to talk about short-term rentals. So if you have other questions for the candidates, please do feel free to approach them afterwards and put your questions and thoughts to them. Candidates, any questions you have for me before I give you the first question? There is a rule we've got PEG TV filming here tonight. I just want to make it he's asked me to make it really clear that you cannot say the words, vote for me. Oh, they have to immediately stop the recording and broadcasting. So, first we're going to hear the introductions from each of you. We've asked you to keep it to 20 seconds. 1 sentence with your name, a sentence with who you are, and then a sentence with why you're running. And just also make sure that you say clearly if you are running for Board of Aldermen or for the mayoral position, which was a little surprise that we got halfway between organizing this and putting the event on. So it's wonderful to be able to have that opportunity. All right, we're going to go left to right. So, and I know it feels weird. You literally have to yell.
Okay, I'm Robert Reynolds and I'm running for mayor.
Great, thank you.
All right, I'm Michael Talbot. I'm running for re-election to the Board of Aldermen. We've started a lot of things like the TIF district and the rental rehab fund. My time on the board, and I want to see those through. I'm a public college teacher and a union worker.
I'm Kurt Esposito. I'm running for a seat on the Board of Aldermen. I'm a Rutland native, 92 graduate of MSJ, and really looking to get involved and being able to provide some solutions for the city.
My name is Henry Heck. I'm running for mayor. I was born and raised here, and I'm just looking to give back to my community.
I'm Luigi Liano, running for mayor. I've been in Rutland 50 years in business, and I'd like to see the city born again because we ain't going anywhere. And my position is no more mayor, city manager.
My name is John Chaffee. I'm running for the Board of Aldermen. I've lived in Rutland for 40 years, born and raised, and I own a few businesses here in Rutland, and I want to see the city grow more.
My name is Anna Taddeo, and I'm born and raised in Rutland, Vermont. I'm currently a strategic litigation attorney, and I've been serving on the Rutland City Board of Aldermen for the last 4 years. I'm seeking re-election to a 3rd term. And I care a lot about finding solutions to issues affecting everybody, and today I want to talk to you all about solutions to the housing crisis.
My name is Peter G. Franzoni. I'm a 5th generation Rutland native. Originally just wanted to get involved with the city, maybe perhaps be a friend of the Planning Commission. Really want to see more housing built. I've seen what Rutland Ford's brought in the last 5 years. I work in land records as an independent contract title investigator, and I can say for a fact that I've seen a lot more permits coming through in the last 5 years than probably we've seen in the previous 25 before that. I really want to be part of that initiative. I want to work on the rental rehabilitation program as well. Mostly I'd like to get involved with housing.
I'm Alexandria Perone. I am running for alderman. I am a parent of 3 children here in Rutland City, and I'm running because I think the city has got some great momentum going, and I want to help continue that work.
So I am currently a Rutland City Alderman. I am the Chief Executive Officer at Rock Community Action. I brought along this very yellowed newspaper, which is going to tell you either that I'm really old or really experienced. But the headline on this, and a couple of pictures of the former mayor, I worked in his office for 6 years, and my picture next to a headline that says Rutland's $100 million sunrise. We had $100 million worth of development on the books. We knew how to do it. I know how to do it now. Minus the mustache, I'm ready to do it again. My name's Tom Donahue, and I'm running for the mayor of the city of Rutland. Thank you.
I'm going to forego the microphone since everyone else did for the first round. My name's Rick Baker. I'm a small business owner. I run a welding fabrication business. I've worked in numerous fields across the country, working in the trades, working commercial fishing, and I've also worked in community development internationally. Worked in East Africa for 10 years, doing small business development and job creation. And I'm excited to bring some of those skills that I've learned overseas to Rutland City.
Awesome. Let's give him a round of applause.
I just want to check where Michelle is because I want to make sure that this is an okay level. Can everyone hear me better or worse? Okay. Okay, I'll try speaking normally then. I was speaking a little lowly because I wanted to try and make sure that I wasn't... Keep going? Higher? 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 Okay, we're going to just check that Michelle's okay with it. So if someone can make sure that Michelle is here from Treviso. And when she comes around, if we can all give her a big round of applause and a thank you. She let us be here tonight just like... She was like, sure, let's have the space. Hang on, wait, you have to wait till she comes out. There she is. Can everyone give her a big round of applause, please? I've got it on a video, so let me know if it's too loud. Okay, thanks, Michelle. Okay, so we got the microphone in time. I would like to do that maybe again at the end with the microphone, just to make sure that everybody can hear you. But let's get started with the first question. So this one was submitted by Lobi LaRoe on Facebook. And she said, what steps are we taking to renovate existing buildings in the downtown area to create long-term rentals in the second and third floors of vacant properties? So I did a little bit of research on this, and according to the 2024 housing census, Rutland City has 8.5 housing units and 7,500 of them are occupied. So that might mean the other 1,000 is technically vacant. They could be short-term rentals, they could be second properties, or they could be actually empty. So the other thing I discovered is that 99% of the vacant downtown buildings that I know are vacant are owned by less than 4 individuals. And none of them are out-of-state landlords. Because I hear this a lot, that there's out-of-state landlords that don't care. All of the vacant buildings in the downtown are local landlords that I knew some of them. And a personal anecdote from myself is I have actually offered to purchase a couple of the downtown buildings that I know are vacant and have had that purchase declined, or to go into partnership with a couple of these landlords to try and get these buildings back online, and they've said no. So I think some of the things that I've heard about why is that, you know, they're not sure about the future of Rutland. It's a lot of money to invest, and there's some things around the buildings themselves in terms of lead, asbestos, and things like that that are expensive. But I think someone I was talking to yesterday summed it up really well. It's that on the one hand, we have people that are investing millions and doing great things for the city, and then on the other hand, some of those same people, they're actually, the issue there is stagnation because they're holding on to these buildings that they're not releasing and letting go. So, would love to hear your thoughts. Who would like to speak on this topic? Okay, I'm going to go over here so you put your hand up first. Rick.
Sorry if my voice is a little cracky. I've been a little sick the last couple of weeks. Not contagious though. Yeah, thank you again for this opportunity. Currently, we have a ordinance on the books. It's Title IX, Chapter 16, which is the vacant property registration ordinance. And my suggestion for part of this, well, first of all, let me back up. I want to really appreciate the landholders in Rutland for saving the historic architecture of Rutland when no one wanted it. Like Rutland, obviously, we all know has gone through many tough years, and those buildings were worth nothing at the time. Those buildings are fantastic assets to the people of Rutland now, and I think we have some opportunities to bring them back online. Through that, with our current vacant property registration, what I'd like to see done is that we put some teeth behind it. Right now, landowners are required after 90 days to register their property if it's become vacant, and then it goes through a review process to make sure it's not dilapidated. Other municipalities, cities across the country assign a monetary amount to that. So if you allow your property to become vacant, you have to pay a fine or a fee, a registration fee. Like Burlington, I think it does $250 is the registration fee. And then if you continue to leave your property vacant, there is an assessment on that property yearly. In Burlington, I think it's $3,000 a year for residential properties, $4,000 a year for commercial properties. So I think that if we incentivize landlords to utilize their resources by making it financially important for them to do so, whether that means they do the investment or they release the property to someone else who is willing to do the investment, I think that could be a crucial step in allowing us to increase access to housing, commercial space, artistic space, and really continue to revitalize downtown.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rick. Would you like to also use a talking card? Hang on, I'll take that. And I forgot to mention as well, it's a 90-second talking card. So I'm going to have a timer over there when I remember to put it on. But that was one. I think that was good. I was guessing. And the other thing is that you really have to put the microphone right to your mouth, just as close as you feel comfortable sharing the germs. I think that's all. Who else would like to use a talking card? Tom. Yeah.
Any card?
T for Tom.
All right. So Gordon Rostillo from the Rutland Herald will tell you that it's really hard for me to do 90 seconds, so I'm going to get going. I want to point to Sean Atkins right over here, the Executive Director of the Rutland Redevelopment Authority. The question was really sort of about downtown potentially as one of the focuses for us to create upper floor housing. What can we do to incentivize that, but also fill the vacancy on the bottom, which could be a thriving, and it oftentimes is a thriving business. One of the things that they're doing now, which was sort of a buy-up loan, was one acronym, now it's called LIFT. Sean brought it to us, the board approved it, the Board of Aldermen. Just last night, as an example, we approved one for Jay Sabatasso on Center Street, and these are incentives to do infrastructure that will help the business get started. And it's very, very important. It can be a loan, it can be leveraged by a very large amount of money that can come from Heritage Family Credit Union, or it can be a forgivable loan. Reimbursable. The point being that it is very important for us to use incentives like the Rutland Redevelopment Authority is offering, Ed Clark, Chairman, and to incentivize that first floor investment, because that will put the building owner in a good position to develop the upper floors for housing. That's my wife clapping.
You were 70 seconds, Tom. Okay, who else would like to use a talking card? Pete, come on in.
Just kind of like to piggyback off of the incentives more than the teeth. these landowners that are holding on these properties have been Rutland City residents and natives for forever.
To your mouth.
Sorry about that. And they've contributed to our community forever. I don't think it's right to come at them with teeth and fines, and I think we should put a little more teeth behind it, but the incentive programs we go through the RRA, we need to give them a reason to invest in these properties. And beyond the RRA, just with community development, it seemed like mixed use development. Grew up here, there wasn't really any neighborhood in this town that didn't have a little bodega mom and pop store on it. You usually had an apartment over the top. And they were really good for building community. So I think if we can get some of these vacant storefronts filled and get the apartments above them, we're going to see more community on the streets because of it. People gathering, wanting to go walking distance. You don't have to drive a mile to get a gallon of milk. You can just go down the street. So I'm really interested in the mixed-use development too, as far as building our neighborhoods even outside the city center, and as a way of avoiding sprawl. Rutland City isn't really conducive to sprawl, just the way it's laid out. And fortunately, we really kind of have the infrastructure already in place in a lot of places to coordinate for mixed-use development, to build up instead of out, and to concentrate these neighborhoods more, so that we got more community areas centered around some small commercial development within the side communities too. So I think mixed-use development really needs to be emphasized as well. Thank you.
On the downtown level, second and third floor, I think we should go to the landlords or the owners of property and turn the second and third floor into condos. Sell it to other people. That way their taxes goes down, they make a profit, the city gets more taxes, and we're gonna move traffic flow on the sidewalks. And this was suggested by 3 gentlemen who were in Rutland 15 years ago from Europe. And their job was urban renewal in Spain, France, and Germany.
Sorry, would you mind repeating what the suggestion was? I don't know if anyone else missed it, but I did. And I'm in charge, so I get to repeat it.
Do exactly what you did, turn them into condos.
Just say again what this
If you take your second and third floor, whatever floors you got above, turn them into condos, sell them as condos, don't rent them. That way there's an incentive for the people to move down there. They don't have to worry about the landlord belly aching and vice versa. Okay? And you will pay less taxes on your property because you got 2 condos on top that will pay the freight. And the city will get more money out of one building than they're doing now. And plus you don't choke the guy that owns the building now because he can't afford it anymore. And I got news for you. There's another reappraisal coming up soon. So hold on to your chairs.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Card, did I take it already?
Good.
Oh, good.
Hold on.
I'm on to you, Luigi. All right. Who else? Mike.
So I think we do very much need a carrot and a stick approach with this, and I think we have a lot of carrots that the board and the city leaders have created over the past few years, and maybe we don't do enough to advertise them and sort of sell them to property owners or potential property investors, right? We have tax stabilization, right? There's reluctance among some board members to give tax stabilization. They see it as giving money away, but it's money that we're never gonna get if we don't give it away, right? We need to make the numbers work for developers. It's a powerful tool. We should be using it all the time. We have other tools, like a couple years ago we changed water sewer connection fees and changeover fees for commercial space to residential space to make it more affordable for folks to convert these exact kind of spaces, second and third floor downtown, to residential. And we created the rental rehab revolving loan fund where you can get a 1.5% interest loan to bring a not online unit or not yet an apartment online. You can do facade improvements, and we don't advertise those well enough. But I do also think we need a stronger blighted property ordinance, right? Registering your blighted property right now is voluntary, and the bulk of them in Rutland aren't registered. So we have a building and zoning department that tells us we need more teeth in these ordinances in order to enforce them. So we need to listen to those folks who do that job, and the Board of Aldermen has the power to strengthen those ordinances.
Okay, anyone else wanted to comment on this one? So we're gonna try something after every question that's a little unusual. Sean, do you wanna lead this?
Sure.
Okay. It just allows every candidate to at least comment on the topic. For instance, we heard with this one that there's an, oh no, you go. Yep.
That's fine. Sure.
Okay, so here are the fun little rules.
Nobody can-
Rapid fire, okay. It's only one question right now, but I'll do it at the end of every round. And I need two hands to show you everything. Okay. So if you agree with it, go ahead.
Yeah, if you lean
Here's
towards
Vanna.
yes to this question, you can put your hand up.
Yeah.
If you're not sure, you need to think about it more, you put your hands on your head. And if you're like a no, then you keep your hands on your lap. Okay, so Sean's gonna read you a question and then you do the action that aligns with where you lean most, right? It's not a definite yes or no, it's just which way you lean.
This is going to be very short, so anticlimactic.
You gotta yell at Sean, they can't hear.
Do you agree to, or do you support increasing the fees in Rutland City's vacancy ordinance?
I didn't hear it.
Do you support increasing
Do you
the
support
fees?
increasing
Do
the
you support
fees in
increasing the
cities'
fees in
vacancy
Rutland City's vacancy ordinance?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes, I don't know, and no, keep your hands down.
By the way, right now it sits at $100 a year, self-designated. So that's a big.
Okay, keep your shots for a moment. I'm just gonna get one quick picture of that. It's fine. All right, thank you very much. So
And
the
my
audience
part
want to participate too. Okay, is everyone ready for a second question? Good, because I'm not. I had it right here. Okay. This is from Michael Lavulo, also on Facebook. How does raising taxes and water rates make Rutland more affordable? If Act 250 isn't ended and taxes aren't lowered, all the discussion is futile. So the good news for Michael Lavulo is that Rutland City has a pre-application in for a full exemption from Act 250. And probably will get that towards the middle to the end of this year if everything goes according to plan. So I think what Michael is alluding to here is something I hear a lot of, is that this could be a gateway to opening a lot larger developments coming to Rutland. And the reality that increasing the number of housing and the quality of housing in Rutland is going to increase our tax revenue and hopefully then lower the tax burden on the current residents. So I am wondering, what should Rutland City be doing about potential big housing developments? Should we be encouraging them? And if so, what else needs to be done to make them possible?
Could you define big?
30 to 80 units or 30 plus units in one development. That would usually require 10 acres, and so triggering the Act 250 Act, and that will no longer be the case if we get this exemption. Okay, who had their hand up? I'm going to go this way now. Anyone here want to talk to it? Nope? Okay.
So I think we need a combination of all types of housing in Rutland, small units and large units, in order to house the people that currently live here and also people that want to move here. So ways that we can do this, and we've seen this in action already, but is support of the TIF district. The hotel project is going to bring 20 new units of housing online in one condensed area, but there's opportunities to do more projects like TIF and to expand the TIF district. Additionally, I think the more opportunities that we have when developers come in to work collaboratively with them with options like tax stabilization to make it possible for them to do their developments, then we can really truly house all of the people that need housing. And the people that need housing are both homeowners and renters, and we need a combination of market rate housing and low income housing. So I think any and all options to bring housing online are welcome at this time.
So Alderwoman Taddeo actually said a lot of what I was going to say, but I will add a little personal anecdote, which is that when my husband and I were moving up here from Florida, it was extreme, and this is 20 years ago, it was extremely hard to find an apartment And a lot of that had to do with the fact that it was a lot of apartments in family homes that didn't have a lot of stock on the internet or anything like that, so searching from far away was very hard. So I think a benefit to a larger housing project is that you will have a managed property that will hopefully have some information online for people, which will help draw people here. It'll make it easier for them to see what's available to move here. And yeah, the TIF district is for sure a great thing for this city.
So I wanted to speak real quickly to first to the tax stabilization piece as an incentive for additional commercial development in the city that will expand our grand list and grow our tax base. As an example, we just approved just a couple of weeks ago a tax stabilization agreement that will create 12 new housing units at the corner of Franklin Street and Cherry. That project will probably be north of $1 million when it's done. But right now, that empty lot is creating $14,850 over the next 10 years in tax revenue. Under the agreement, we have worked out with the developers, Socera Properties, and the head of that, I won't mention any names, but I'll share her initials. It's Claire Purcell. But the first 5 years in that arrangement, as an example, will be $10,000. And the next 5 years, $15,000. So over that same period of time, rounding up, where we would have raised only $15,000 on that vacant property, it will create $125,000 in revenue for the city of Rutland on the municipal side, not the state education piece. Therefore, tax stabilization projects like that can work. And we can expand our grant list because guess what? Year 11, that goes up to full valuation, and we'll appreciate it then at that point. In the meantime, we've increased a significant amount of revenue on that property. So it's a win-win-win. Having said that, I just want to touch base briefly also on what type of commercial development, any kind of commercial development, as long as it's in the right place, I just want to say expands our shrinking grand list, it grows our shrinking grand list and expands our tax base so our taxes and our tax burden is shared.
Well done. Thank you, Tom. And it's a $2.7 million development, but who's counting? All right, who else would like to say something? Thank you, Henry.
So I'm going to look at this from a little bit of a different perspective. There's a lot of very smart people, a lot smarter than me.
Close it to your mouth, sorry, Henry. Thank
Developers and folks that want to come here. But I think the one thing that I would be looking at is the reappraisal that's coming. Reappraisal is going to take our grand list, which is about $1 billion right now, and maybe double that. So I think you're going to see the tax basis, things that may not be fairly taxed, and people that are being overtaxed will get spread out a little bit. I think if investors see that the tax base is being equalized and stuff, it's going to bring the opportunity for more investment, but also for the residential folks. And I was thinking about Mike, I know him a little bit in regards what he used to do and stuff, but I think it's about just regular Joe taxpayers and how much we're paying on taxes. And I'm really excited about the reappraisal and what that's going to look like when it's done, because I think it's truly going to affect everything that's going on with the community. And it's just not downtown, it's the outlying areas as well too.
Great.
I have a slightly different perspective on it myself. I'm a renter. I moved back to Rutland almost 3 years ago now, after having lived in Worcester, Massachusetts for 20 years. And what I'm noticing as a renter is that as I'm coming back, I got lucky because my parents own a 2-family home and I'm able to rent their upstairs apartment. But what I noticed was that the mid-level housing for renters, there's low income and there are high-end apartments. But finding something that's affordable for somebody that's on a workaday salary is a little troublesome. So any kind of development that comes through, I'd like to see more of those mid-level apartments or mid-level type homes be made available, which is going to create a little bit more diversity to allow other types of, or other folks rather, to move here and be able to find a comfortable place to live.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to use a card? Any audience members would like to play a card? No. Sean, over to you for... Oh, you would, Luigi? Okay.
What about properties that the city owns that are empty? On tax sales and stuff. There's a building on State Street by Cleveland Avenue, been empty for 25 years. And nobody's done anything to take it over. And that would be one building you could do a lot of housing, like you said, affordable, at 3 levels. You might need some work about cleaning up, but you know, it's not as dirty as you think. It looks worse because there's no windows, the back of the building's got no wall, okay? And on top of that, the fire department goes there 3 or 4 times a year to practice with the water. And then I get told, oh, the building is falling apart. So let's get our act together, let's get the building back, and let's fix it up for people that can afford to move in. And that's all I gotta say on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sean.
Sure. It's very simple. I feel like you can just continue this one. Something that actually I've toyed around with, that actually I drafted is, would you support a standardized tax stabilization structure? And just to give a quick example is if X amount of investment, basically to make it objective instead of subjective. So X amount of investment gets X percentage or something like that, just as an example. Instead of being, you know, okay, this works, that doesn't work. Like an actual minimum investment type of thing, if that makes sense.
I'm going to re-say it for the people in this head, sorry.
I'm not used to the microphone.
He's a soft-spoken gentleman, Sean. Not like me, I'm allowed. So what Sean is suggesting is a standardized tax stabilization. So if you're investing a certain amount of money, it's just an automatic decision that you get X amount of tax stabilization. Today, right now, it's a custom process. The developer themselves proposes the tax stabilization, and then the Board of Aldermen negotiate and agree or do not agree to get to an agreement. So we would like to know, which way do you lean? Are you for it, you don't know, or you would be against standardizing tax stabilizations in that way?
But qualified, yes.
A qualified yes. And yeah, I just want to be clear, this is not a commitment. There are a lot of details in this, but it's just a basic, which way do you lean? Custom versus standardized. Which way do you lean?
I'm the only one.
I think there should be exceptions here and there, but depending on, you know, once you start putting a shovel in the ground, something always changes from what's planned. So, you know, there might be, as long as there's room for adaptation, I would support that, yeah.
And my quick qualification is that there should be an option for homeowners to access tax stabilization to do ADUs on their property, as well as commercial investors.
I agree with that.
Homeowners and commercial. Okay, so let's go again, and we're just going to hold your position. 3, 2, 1. Someone take a photo? No? Okay, thank you very much. All right, moving on to the next question. This one is actually from Let's Build Homes. They have a national agenda that they put together, and this is one of the areas that is very relevant locally. So, currently, permit challenges are one of the major blockages to new housing being built. Right now, anyone in the area of a new development can delay a new development through an appeal, even if that new development is obeying all of the zoning rules. Burlington adopted a different approach in 2017, which said that as long as a development is following certain rules, and those rules were very clearly defined, then no appeals were allowed, unless the developer was breaking the rules. What happens is that the appeal can be put in. It takes 3 or 4 to 6 months to be processed at a city level, and then it can be appealed at the state level, and it can take 1 to 5 years to go through that process. And there's a number of developments that are in this situation right now around Vermont. So since that time that was put in, there has not been a single development permit appeal in Burlington since 2017. So I'd like to know what you think about permit appeals, and if you have any comments or thoughts on adjusting the way that the process works today, or should it stay the same?
Oh, yep, speak.
Appeal process is a nightmare, and I really think Burlington's model is something that Rutland should follow. NIMBYism has definitely been something that has held Rutland back for a very, very long time.
Define that.
NIMBYism, not in my backyard. Basically, you've got all of these developers, all of these investors, all of these people that have put everything together, they've followed the rules, they've jumped through every hoops they're supposed to, and all of that can be stopped dead in its tracks by someone coming and putting an appeal up in the process. Most of these projects are vetted and well notified long before they start. The public has plenty of opportunity to bring their concerns, usually during the planning stages. So when we get to the point where we're actually starting to put the shovel in the ground and someone comes and stops it all, that costs everybody thousands and thousands of dollars. And not only does it stop the project, it keeps other investors from wanting to come here. They see that happening and they say, well, no, I'm not going to risk. You know, I put all this money for it and then I get started and I'm going to lose it all. So I really think we should follow Burlington's example. In conjunction with that, I think we should make a little more effort into advertising to the public when we have a project going, and to explain things to them to quell their fears so they don't feel like they need to appeal the process in the first place. Thank you.
I hope they won't mind, Larry, but we happen to know some gentlemen. I work for an automotive industry just on South Main Street, and the owner has been trying to put in a pretty major development. We're talking about $1 million development. The city can pass whatever kind of laws, legislation they want, but it's all the state. And it's not so much people, which I can appreciate, Peter, but when a box turtle and a migrating bat make a determination, and I love animals, I'm not going to slaughter either one of them, but when they make a determination on a project that's costing, I think it started out in the $7 to $8 million, and it's now, because of the delay, it's a $3 million overcost just because they're waiting. So these are some of the developments that people that want to come here and invest, and I'm not talking about pennies, I'm talking about millions of dollars. And yet we have not just people, but we have literal box turtle and a migrating bat that has held this project up for over a year. And it's going to cost these developers, I think, somewhere between $3 and $4 million.
In terms of development like this and others being able to put a stop to it, I think back to an experience I had when I was a senior at Castleton State College, and yes, I do still call it Castleton State College. I had the opportunity as a senior history student to work directly with Senator Robert Stafford. He was kind enough to regale us with a story of the construction of the Eisenhower interstate system. The original plan for the interstate system was for I-89 to either go through or right by Rutland. When he was governor, Senator Stafford was governor at the time, when he brought the issue to the city, he was turned down because, oh, well, Bob, we have the train. Now, the train was already in receivership in the 1950s, so it's just that foresight, the long game of, do we want this investment in the city? And I'm thinking back to, investment of billions of dollars in the 1950s. And perhaps what, Rutland could be today if an interstate was available to us. We've got to see a bigger picture. Let's get some, let's get some juices flowing, so to speak, to get some investment in the city and build housing that we need desperately.
Anyone else?
Oh, an audience. God. Here we go. Yes, who would you like to give it to? Tom. There you are, sir. You smiled nice, Eddie. Did you smile nice?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Oh, you don't get to keep it. I get to keep it.
I gotta get that. Thank you. That's great. So I just want to be clear that I'm also in favor of the transfer of the appeal process from the district environmental, well, actually from the environmental division of the state of Vermont to the land use review board. One of the things that'll do will provide for a more timely and then less costly and more predictable, streamlined process. One of the things that I heard when I ran the Rutland Region Chamber of Commerce for 21 years from developers was the problem they had with Act 250 was oftentimes the fact that it was a little more unpredictable. They wanted to know what the rules are and be consistently applied around the state. Additionally, every time it was unpredictable, it was costly because it was a length of time that cost money. And it made it very difficult financially for people to get through that process. Under this transfer, potentially, of this responsibility to the Land Use Review Board, it could be more streamlined, more predictable, and thus, by being more timely, it could be more affordable.
Okay, any other audience cards?
All right. The question for this one is, would you support a similar ordinance to that Burlington had, which is, we could call it automatic approval provided it meets the rules approach. So 3, 2, 1, pop your hands in air. Thank you very much. Okay, 2 more questions to go. The next one is unhoused. It grew from 92 people in 2019 to more than 600 people in 2024 in Rutland City. That's 21% of the entire state's unhoused individuals were in Rutland City in 2024. This is obviously a tragedy for those individuals, and it also reduces safety for citizens who are surrounding the areas, especially in densely populated areas. We've seen some actions like an emergency space in the library created and some transitional housing proposed by Cornerstone, but so far no concrete action for where to place those 600 individuals. What, as an alderman, would you do to reduce the number of unhoused people in Rutland City? Alderman or mayor?
So my father devoted his entire career after he got back from Vietnam to housing the unhoused, particularly unhoused veterans. And he did a couple of things that I think we could replicate here in Rutland. One was he created an event called the Stand Down, where he partnered with the Catholic Church in San Diego and the Guardian Angels, and they did outreach to homeless veterans and their families. And for a 72-hour period, they took over a high school football field in downtown San Diego, and they had wraparound services there. Legal services, housing services, medical services, to help people get over that hump, to get the help that they need so that they could get back on track. Then he helped start a nonprofit, Vietnam Veterans of San Diego, and they bought unused or abandoned motels and turned them into transitional housing campuses with wraparound services. And again, partnering with the Catholic Church to help fund it and the federal government, the Veterans Administration. Mayor Dunn just put together a great plan for a transitional housing campus here in Rutland. He found a location. He contacted the property owners and got them on board, and he pitched it to the state, and the state didn't give us the money we need to make it happen. So that's what we need to keep pushing for. That kind of transitional housing campus with the wraparound services will get people off the street and into permanent housing. We can't just throw money at hotel rooms or building homes and hoping that people end up there. People are on the street because they need a particular type of help.
Thank you. Robert?
I like what you said. I actually drafted some plans that might be controversial, but have you all heard of the Poor Farm?
Say it again.
Have you guys heard of the Poor Farm?
Yeah.
How many people? Not very many.
Not very good.
Right. Well, I do have a drafted plan to build a community for the homeless based off a similar model, but obviously it's not a farm. The idea was voluntary community service implemented into that, which could save us quite a bit of money also. They'll be capable, possibly, I would hope, of keeping the streets clean or, you know, doing something to contribute. And that would have to be transitional also, unfortunately. We can't keep them there forever, but that kind of goes along with the same idea of, you know, finding vacant property. What the previous mayor had a property already picked out. Oh, that's good. Well, I just wanted to speak my mind on that because I think that going that particular route would be better, far better than hotels, and like what we said before, you can't keep pouring money into it.
Thank you.
At the end of the day, it's not just about housing the homeless. It's about actually helping people that need housing. You can build a massive structure with 200-300 apartments in it and put all those people in it, but if you don't have the services that they need to help them to get to actual housing or mental health or just generalized health care. There's people living on the streets in Rutland and in the hotels that haven't been to doctors in years that need medical care. I mean, there's tons and tons of people like that. They walk by my store every day. So we can't just throw money at it. We can't keep putting people in hotels. We actually need a space where we can house people in the upper levels and have services in the lower levels. So if somebody needs help, they can go down to an office and say, I need help with this. And that at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's helping the whole community.
Thank you.
So Rutland is a small community, and unfortunately during the pandemic, the state made a decision to try to help people that were unhoused. But what happened was a lot of people from other surrounding communities ended up in Rutland, where we have less services that these folks need. So Rutland, on the Board of Aldermen, we need to be coordinating and working with people in the state legislature and up in Montpelier to be coming up with a solution that is long-term, that's not temporary, that's not one night in a hotel, that's not a permanent solution. I think the Board of Aldermen can work with our contacts in Montpelier, again, to find more permanent solutions locally, to break barriers to housing developments and new projects, and also I think help people get back to their home communities and places where there are more services. A lot of folks were in Burlington where there were more services, and I think we can help those people get to where there are more services available. So it's a combination of bringing more housing on board and also helping people get help where they can get help. So there's a lot of things. And I think, again, we need to be working really closely with the state because Rutland simply does not, in our budget, have the resources to house 600 people. But the state does have the resources that we need to make solutions possible. So, thank you.
Anyone want to use their audience card? All right. So, I'm sorry, Tom, I got to play by the rules that I made up myself. All right. So with this one, we wanted to see if anyone would propose a particular policy. We didn't have a question that we were set ready to go with. So I'm going to go with, I think the strongest I heard was to be working with the state on specific spaces with wraparound services. Does anyone, did I sum that up fairly? Did I ignore anybody's perception? Okay. which way would you lean if there was movement to strongly go and try and create a space that would have wraparound services to house the unhoused? Would you be leaning yes and supporting that? Would you not be sure, or would you be no, I would not be? Okay, that's a nice one. Everybody's a yes. Excellent. All right, we're on to our last question, and that is around short-term rentals. So I often hear a worry about short-term rentals and how they're taking up the housing for people who would otherwise live in them. According to Rabu.com, which is an aggregator of Airbnb type apartments, there are 1,012 Airbnbs in Rutland County. 136 of those are in Rutland City. So if you think back to the number of houses in Rutland City, which was 8,500, 1.5% of our housing stock is currently given to Airbnbs. So there have been concerns that they're taking over and that some form of ordinance is needed to restrict it, especially with the Killington development that's taking place. What do you think about that? And would you be taking any action on the short-term rentals front?
I think that there's some very straightforward answers to these questions. If you look at what other tourism-heavy cities and towns around the country have done, especially those that have limited housing stock, we have to prioritize housing for the citizens of Rutland. And we cannot, I don't want to say allow, but we have to encourage homeowners that are in the city to rent those available units to long-term residents. One of the ways we could do that is to put a mandatory cap on the number of nights per year that you could rent out your home as an Airbnb. So you could still get some supplemental income if you have a nice space, but it doesn't completely shift the usage of that space over to short-term rentals. And another option is to have a primary residence mandate, so that you can only rent out your, have a home on Airbnb if it is your primary resident. So that prohibits investors in state or out of state from buying out properties in order to put them into Airbnb. And I have a little anecdote about that. My wife and I bought our house in 2023, so a few years ago, and we were really struggling to find home, and we ended up not being able to offer enough to buy a house. But the resident who sold us our house chose our bid because we were going to live in it. We were going to be part of the community, that we wanted to invest in the community. And he turned down like almost $100,000 more money on our house so that we would live in it. And I want that passion, or that opportunity for other Rutlanders. Yeah, there's a lot of other things, but.
Great. This is our last question. Who's got a card left?
So, I actually had an Airbnb across the street from me. It was owner operated. They lived in the bottom floor and rented the top floor. And honestly, there was never a problem with that. I just didn't think it made a lot of sense. Where I live is very residential, and I honestly didn't see a lot of traffic coming through there. So I don't think that short-term rentals are the best use of our property, but I also don't necessarily feel like we should tell people that they can or can't do something with their properties. I do like Rick's idea of you have to live in the property to have the Airbnb go with it. It keeps a lot of problems at bay.
Thank you.
So the Airbnb thing is a big debacle in Rutland City right now because of Killington. There's another issue with landlords in Rutland that are now Airbnb-ing a lot of their apartments because they don't feel the quality of tenants they're getting are going to keep their apartments nice and their properties nice. So what's happening is they just rather Airbnb them, and they're making way more money on top of that. But the problem is the eviction process in Rutland, and that's what's driving the landlords to put these properties on Airbnb and Vrbo, whatever it is, because somebody shows up for 2 or 3 nights, they leave, all they do is clean the room and it's ready to go again, where it might be 8 months to evict a tenant. David just evicted a tenant above my bar, and it took him 8 months to get the tenant out. So, I don't think we should restrict the short-term rentals, but the state needs to change the eviction process to drive people to rent to long-term rentals again.
Thank you, very insightful. Does anyone have any cards left? Robert, you have the last one. Would you like to use that card?
Personally, I don't see what the short-term rentals do to benefit us, but it's controversial. You can't just tell people they can't do it, or you're going to get a lot of kickback. No one's just going to agree to that, unfortunately. Does it really add to the tax revenue? Does it help us in any way? I don't think so. Does it? I'm just thinking here. I don't see the point, but restricting it isn't going to work. So maybe some kind of zoning or some kind of regulation on it is, mandatory.
Thank you. All right, any card, audience members would like to use a card? Michael, okay. Oh, sorry, yeah.
So, yeah, I think we have to be thoughtful. We do need to put regulations on Airbnbs. I wish Stephen Box were here. I feel like we would have a lot to say. He's talked to the city a lot about this. And I think the city needs to reach out to folks who own these short-term rentals and work with them to develop ordinances and regulations that won't be onerous to them, but will ensure that the interests of the city and the interests of neighbors who live around these short-term rentals are in mind. Next door to me, a woman lived for years, and she passed away a few years ago, and an out-of-town landlord ended up buying the building and turned her apartment into an Airbnb. Down the street, a laundromat sat for years, like 3 houses down from mine, and it was vacant, and someone bought it and turned it into an Airbnb. They're now trying to sell it because they weren't able to rent it enough to make it profitable. So, and next door, right, the California property owner who owns the place next to me, he's not able to rent it enough to make it profitable. So, I think we need smart regulation about it so that people who are renting out these short-term rentals are making money, contributing to the community, bringing in tourism, people spending money at our businesses, but we also need to make sure that we have enough places for our residents to live.
Thank you. Okay.
I feel the same way as most of the folks that have been speaking so far. It's the short-term rental. It doesn't really provide any sort of benefit to the city, and with a housing crisis, every room counts, so to speak. So I'd certainly be in that line for, as Mike was saying, smart regulation. Perhaps a cap of some kind, being able to really open up some of these properties, especially the ones that are owned by out-of-state and absentee landlords, and give us, the citizens of Rutland, some more options in terms of housing.
Thank you. Did we have one more card? Would the audience member like to use it? Can be for a different topic. No? Okay, on this one, the question is, oh, I did see someone's waving at me. Did you want to use it? Okay.
I spent the better part of 35 years doing land surveying under my father's company for a few companies after he retired. As I said, I do independent contract title investigation now. I spent a lot of time on land records. Concerning Airbnbs and second homes, I'm going to bring up Shrewsbury as an example. It's been a couple of years since I did research there, but last time I was there, over 52% of the homes in Shrewsbury are owned by people who do not live there. While I was doing research there, a local woman came in and was complaining that there's a big part of a road that needed to be regraded. And she had to have explained to her that, well, we don't not only have the money to pay to get the road regraded, but we don't have any employees that live here anymore that do it. I really want to see something like that happen to Rutland, especially with second-term rentals and stuff. So I think there should be things done to de-incentivize and maybe tax them at a higher rate. If you're not going to be living here, but you're going to own a home here, you should pay a little bit more to contribute to the locality because you're not contributing to the local economy because you're not here. So I'd like to see more protections put in place for the city in that regard. Thank you.
Okay, on this one, I'm going to broaden the question. So the question is, when it comes to short-term rentals, do you lean more towards supporting restrictions of some form or not supporting any restrictions and letting it be as it is? 3, 2, 1, pop your hand where it would be.
Support restrictions.
Okay, thank you very much. Candidates, you've been wonderful. Could you please go down one more time with the microphone and say your name and the position that you're running for? Thank you.
I'm Robert Reynolds, and I'm running for mayor.
I'm Michael Talbot. I'm running for re-election to the Board of Aldermen.
I'm Kurt Esposito. I'm running for a seat on the Board of Aldermen.
Henry Heck, running for mayor.
Luigi Giuliano, running for mayor to be replaced by city manager.
John Chaffee, I'm running for the Board of Aldermen.
I'm Anna Taddeo, and I'm running for re-election to the Rutland City Board of Aldermen.
Peter Franzoni, running for the Board of Aldermen.
Alexandra Crone, running for the Board of Aldermen.
And I'm Tom Donahue. I'm currently an alderman and running for the mayor of the Rutland, City of Rutland. Thank you.
And I'm Rick Baker, and I'm running for the Board of Aldermen. And also, can I do a quick pitch about 3 other things? About housing.
I'm so sorry. I do really want to make sure that everybody sees this as a bipartisan, fair event. That's why we structured it the way that we did. Non-partisan. Same thing. Sorry. Non-partisan. Fair event where everybody got their voice heard and had the same opportunity to have their voice heard. I really appreciate you all coming tonight, and you all as well. I hope you informed you as well as entertained you a little bit, and we look forward to seeing the results in the coming election. Have a great night, grab a drink, grab some food.